Right, and today we're going to be looking at converting fractions to decimals. Now, there is some fractions decimals that you should already have memorized, hopefully. For instance, you should be confident that a half is equal to 0.5, a quarter is equal to 0.25, an eighth being 0.125. You should know a fifth is the same as 0.2, and maybe as well a third, 0.3 recurring. Okay, so we should already have these memorized. Now we're going to look more generally at any kind of fraction, how you can convert it into a decimal. Okay, so I'm going to use one of these examples because we know what we've got to end up with. I'm going to use one of these examples to show how we do it. I'll use a couple of them just to prove that it consistently works for these, and then we'll have a go at some other problems. So let's look at a half. We know that a half is equal to 0.5, so my method hopefully should get us to an answer of 0.5. Now, in order to convert fractions to decimals, you need to be happy with the relationship that 1 over 2, written as a half, is the same as 1 divided by 2. Okay, if we carry out this calculation, we will get that decimal. So let's do that quickly. I'm going to do it with bus stop. I'm just going to do it here. So 2's into 1's. Remember, we're doing 1 divided by 2. So in this case, your bigger number is on the outside. That could be somewhere, a place where some people trip up. So how many 2's are there in 1? Well, it does not quite go, because 0 times 2 is 0. That has a remainder of 1. So we're going to have to add a placeholder in here. 2's into 10 go 5. Okay, remember, our decimal point has to line up with underneath the bus stop. So we've got an answer of 0.5, which is exactly what we would expect. Right, then let's have a quick look at a quarter just to see if it consistently works. So you should be happy that a quarter is the same as 1 divided by 4. So let's have a look at that. How many 4's into 1? Well, it does not go. Put our decimal point in. Going to carry over the 1. 4's into 10. Well, that goes twice. 8 to 10, so that's remainder of 2. Add another 0. 4's into 20 go 5. 0.25, which is exactly what we expected. Right then, let's have a look at a couple more. So this time, we're going to look at 5/8. Okay, now you know what 1/8 is, so if you're really stuck, rather than doing the division, you could, in theory, just do 0.125, add 0.125 5 times. Okay, add it to itself 5 times. But we're going to be consistent and do what we've been doing here. So we're going to do 5 divided by 8. Okay, let's do that. So 5's. How many 8's in 5? Well, that does not go. Then we're going to put our decimal. We've got 5 left over. How many 8's into 50? Well, 8 times 6 is 48. So it's going to be 6, remainder of 2. How many 8's into 20? Well, that's going to be 2. With a remainder of 4. 8's into 40 go 5. So 5/8 as a decimal is 0.625. Okay, let's do a few more. This one's going to be slightly different. 7/20. Okay, now my suggestion is, because what I like to use bus stop method is to kind of slightly ignore the rules of fractions. So normally you don't have a decimal in fractions, but it's fine for us to divide with a decimal like this. Okay, so for instance, I would much rather divide by 2 using bus stop method than divide by 20, just because there will be lots left over, lots of little numbers up here, and I want to try and avoid that. So I know that if I divide the top and bottom by 10, these two are still identical. Okay, you'd never really write a fraction like that because you don't really want a decimal in there, but when we're doing our calculation, 0.7 divided by 2, that's fine. So let's do that. 2, 0.7. Okay, so how many 2's in 0? Well, that does not go. We don't even have any left over, so 2's into 7 this time goes 3, with 1 left over. 2's into 10 go 5. Okay, so that means, I'll do a separate line, 7 over 20 is equal to 0.35. Cool, let's have a look at one last one. We're going to use the same kind of approach. This time it's just going to be a slightly messier looking one. This time I want to convert 131 over 200 into a decimal. I'm going to follow the same logic. I want to divide by 2 because it's a lot easier. So I'm going to divide the top by, well, I have to divide the bottom by 100. So let's do that. Divide that by 100 would give us 2. Divide this by 100, well, that's divided by 10. Divided by 100 would look like that. Now we're going to carry out the calculation of 1.31 divided by 2. So let's do that over here. We have 2's into 1.31. How many 2's into 1? They do not go. We have a remainder of 1. How many 2's into 13? Oh, so that's 6 with a remainder of 1. How many 2's into 11? That's 5 with a remainder of 1. So I'm going to put a 0 in there. And then 2's into 10 go 5. Okay, so the fraction 131 over 200 is equal to 0.655. Okay, one last note on your, if this is ever asked on a calculator paper, or you get an answer that's a fraction in a calculator paper and you want to convert it quickly into decimal, there is a quick way of doing that. So let's say, for instance, we have, let's say this one down here, 131. Oh, I'll write it as a fraction, shall I? 131 over 200. If you press equals, it just comes down there as a fraction. And now you need to be aware of this button right here, the S to D button. Okay, I'm hoping that you've had it pointed out to you in the past. Press that, and it will convert that to a decimal. Let's see. Yeah, I did get it right. That's good.